A couple of things I wanted to ask this evening, and I guess it came up first with the airport report, which I'll talk about at agenda orals in a few minutes. But it occurred to me, they're talking about parking problems, which of course we've got parking problems throughout the city, and this whole issue with the sewer. My questions have to do with, can the airport, as the Burbank Glendale Pasadena Airport Authority, use eminent domain and go outside the city of Burbank to take property for parking use? I realize they would have to have PUC hearings based on our court case, but I'm just curious as to whether or not they could go outside the city of Burbank. I know they can't take residential homes because what's in the JPA, but I know that they can take commercial property. The other question that I have, and I'm on a few people's email lists, and this week the idea of inverse condemnation came up with regard to this sewer project. And I'm just curious as to what our city attorney might opine with regard to that, because I believe that's like a taking of property rights. And I think the people in Burbank still don't have a clear handle or understanding on how the city of LA can cross our borders, which goes to the question about the Burbank Airport. How can they cross borders as to their jurisdiction? How can anyone cross its borders and either through eminent domain, inverse condemnation, taking, whatever, how can they come into our property in Burbank? Thank you.
Mrs. Berlin asked the question. Mr. Barlow, I wonder if we can give her a short response or a long response, however long you want to take, to the issue of whether or not an entity like the airport can use that eminent domain outside of its boundaries to acquire land.
The short answer would be yes. They would just have to follow the requirements of the state statutes and their own JPA requirements. But yes, they could go outside their boundaries.
And I suspect that's true for any jurisdiction.
That's correct.
And whether it's Burbank or Los Angeles or Glendale or Pasadena, any jurisdiction would equally acquire land outside of its jurisdiction under some kind of a condemnation procedures, provided that they prevail.
Provided they prevail and provided they follow the state requirements, you bet.